Bismillah. Alright. So continuing on with the lesson, now we're going to look at amr, which is essentially to issue a command. So how would I say run, or both of you help, stuff like that, or he must help, right? So remember before we were doing that in a negation sense. So we were saying he must not help or don't help, but rather how do I now make a command to ask somebody to do something, right? Or command them to do something. So when it comes to amr, there are 3 steps. So the first thing is, remember, you cannot command in the past because it's already happened. So you're dealing with a present tense verb. So let's take this verb yansuru, right? Which means he is helping. That's the first step. So just take a present tense verb. Next, you want to put it into a state of majzoom. So that pretty much means to put a sukoon on the end in the singular case. In the dual case, you drop the noon. And in the plural case, you drop the noon, all except for the plural women. Right? And you can see that here on the chart below, right? So, noon dropped, plural women still there, noon dropped, sukoon, sukoon, right? And then for step 3, you prefix a li to it, right? So it becomes liyansur, and now it will mean he must help. One thing that you want to keep in mind is that this only applies to the third and first person. Rather, second person will be treated differently, and we'll look at that below. So, how does this work? So you take your verb, which is yadribu, you put it into a state of majzoom, meaning you put a sukoon on the end, or you drop the noon, unless it's multiple women, and then you prefix a li onto it, and it becomes liyadrib, which would now be translated as he must hit. So liyadrib, liyadriba, liyadribu, litadrib, litadriba, liyadribna, and then liadrib, linadrib. Remember, this way of applying it only applies to third person and first person. So only in third person, when you're speaking about someone who's not there, are you going to prefix that li. And only in first person, when you're speaking about yourself, are you going to prefix that li. And it's translated with must, right? Because you're not directly speaking to the person. If you're directly speaking to the person, then you would just say like hit. Okay. So now let's look at commanding for the second person. Remember, we said it's treated differently than the third and first person. So once again, you start off with the present tense verb, but you put it into second person because you're dealing with the second person. So it becomes tensuru, which means you are helping, right? Then what you do is you drop the ta, and it becomes suru, which is not really pronounceable. The next step is to put it into a state of majzoom. So you throw a sukoon on the end, and it becomes it's even more hard to pronounce. And then in order to get rid of that difficulty, what they do is that they throw on a relief hamza. Remember that hamzatul wasl that's thrown on so that you can actually read things? So it becomes unsur, help. So let's take a look at this chart here. So for the verb yadribu, how we would start off is putting it into second person. So it would become tadribu. Then we would cut off that ta. It becomes bulribu, something that you can't pronounce. You put it into a state of majzoom, so it become bulrib, still unpronounceable, and then you would throw on the relief hamza, and it would become idrib. Now it's pronounceable, and that would literally mean hit, right? And you take it through the conjugation. So idrib, idriba, notice the noon is dropped because it's in a state of majzoom. Idribun, idribu. Once again, the noon is dropped because it's in a state of majzoom. Idribi, noon is dropped because it's in a state of majzoom. Idriba, and then idribna, and the noon remains here because we're dealing with plural women. So it'd be hit, you both hit, you all hit, you both did not hit, and then, you both hit, gotta correct that, and then you all hit. And, now the question that comes to mind is, how do we know what haraka to put on that relief hamza? As you can see here, in the first case it was unsur with a dhamma, and then in this case it was idrib with a kasra. So how do we figure that out? Really what it comes down to is the different babs that words are put on. So when it comes to the nasara yansuru bab, it's going to take a dhamma and become unsur. And it also applies for the karuma yakrumu bab. If a word is on that bab, then it will become ukrum. And then in all the other cases, it will take a kasra. So ضرب يضرب اضرب, فتح يفتح افتح, حسب يحسب احسب, سمع يسمع اسمع. Right? It's only going to be nasara yansuru and karuma yakrumu that are going to take dhamma. Okay. Assalamu alaikum.